So I had a moment the other day that I think a lot of parents secretly dread. You know, that mixture of intense pride and then just absolute cold terror.
That is a very specific emotional cocktail. What happened?
I was with a friend and their child,
Hmm.
and the kid is young, like should be eating sand young. But instead of eating the sand, they looked at a sign on the playground and just read it out loud
Yeah.
perfectly.
Oh, wow.
Right. And then they asked a question about the structural integrity of the slide, and I just saw the look on my friend's face. It wasn't just, yay, my kid is smart. It was panic. It was,
Ah.
oh no, do I need to enroll them in Harvard? Am I failing them by just letting them run around?
Yeah.
Do I need to buy a year one textbook immediately?
That is the classic acceleration anxiety. It's incredibly common. You see ability and your instinct is to rush forward to meet it.
Exactly. You feel like if you don't feed that hunger with, serious work, you're somehow holding them back.
Right.
But today, we are looking at a stack of research, from pediatric studies on executive function to Australian curriculum frameworks, that suggest the answer isn't to rush forward.
No, it's to go deeper.
It's a concept called extension, and it is fundamentally different from acceleration.
So the mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We're talking to you, the parent or the carer of that capable child, the one who is ready for more. How do we give them more without turning the living room into a boot camp?
Because I'll be honest, when I hear educational extension, I picture worksheets. I picture flashcards.
And that is exactly what our sources suggest we should avoid. The research we're diving into today proposes this idea of a hybrid curriculum.
Okay.
It's not about choosing between letting them be little and supporting their intellect. It's about merging play with what researchers call intentionality.
Intentionality. That sounds like a lot of work for me on a Tuesday morning.
It's actually less work than fighting a 4-year-old to do a worksheet, I promise. But before we get to the how, we have to understand the landscape. We have these curriculum documents from Egara in Western Australia. They actually define the difference between pre-primary and year one.
Right. Because in my head, year one is just pre-primary, but with desks.
It's a bit more nuanced than that. The documents describe pre-primary as a phase of, well, exploration and gentle guidance. It's about exposure.
Okay.
But year one, the key words shift to consolidation and application.
Application. So using what you already know.
Precisely. It's taking a skill and applying it in a new, structured way. Now, here's the trap. If you have a child who is ahead, the temptation is acceleration.
Right.
That means skipping the exploration and jumping straight to year 2 or year 3 content.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know your ABCs. Great. Here's a spelling list of 50 words. Memorize it.
And that is dangerous.
Dangerous. That feels a bit dramatic. They're just learning words. It's dangerous because of what you are skipping. The pediatrics source in our stack really highlights this. If a child is just memorizing a list because they have a good memory, they are bypassing the learning to learn skills. They aren't learning how to struggle. They aren't practicing emotional regulation when they get something wrong.
I see. So if it comes too easy, they never build the grit muscle.
Never. And then they hit year 4, year 5, the work actually gets hard and they fall apart. Because they've never had to work for it before.
Okay, so if we aren't accelerating, if we aren't just moving the finish line further away, what are we doing?
We are extending. And to understand that, we have to look at one of my favorite concepts from the source material, Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, or ZPD.
ZPD. I remember that from a psych elective I barely passed. Remind me what it looks like.
Okay, visualize 3 circles like a target. The bullseye, the center circle, is what your child can do all by themselves.
Easy stuff. Their comfort zone.
Right. And if you stay there, they get bored. And as the research notes, bored children do not learn well. Now, the big outer circle is what they cannot do, even with help. It's just beyond their cognitive development right now.
That's the panic zone.
Yes. If you push them there, like asking a 4-year-old to understand algebra, you just create anxiety and shutdown.
So we want the middle circle.
The magic middle, the zone of proximal development. This is the region of just manageable difficulties. These are things a child can do, but only if they have support.
Support. That's the key word.
We call it scaffolding. The goal of extension isn't to hand them a harder book and walk away. It's to take a concept they are interested in, say, dinosaurs or trains, and use your support to add layers of complexity they couldn't reach alone.
So you aren't running the race faster, you're stopping to explore the terrain in more detail.
Exactly.
Okay, I love the metaphor, but let's be the devil's advocate here. I'm a parent. I'm tired. Exploring the terrain sounds lovely, but how do I actually do that without a degree in early childhood education? Let's talk literacy.
Okay, literacy is a great place to start because it's where parents get the most competitive.
Oh, totally. My kid is reading Harry Potter at age 5. It's a status symbol.
It is. But the Foundations for Success source makes a critical distinction here. Being able to decode words, just saying the sounds, is not the same as deep comprehension.
Hmm.
In fact, oral language is a much stronger predictor of later success than early reading speed.
So talking is better than reading.
Sustained shared thinking is the term. It's not just chatting. It's a back-and-forth dialogue where you solve a problem together.
Give me a concrete example. My kid knows their letters. They can read cat and dog. I want to extend them. What do I do?
Don't buy the next book level up. Instead, play with the mechanics of the language. The curriculum workbook source suggests playing with morphemes.
Morphemes. You're getting technical on me.
I promise it's fun. A morpheme is just the smallest unit of meaning in a word. So you play a game, you say, okay, the word is jump. If I did it yesterday, what did I do?
Jumped.
And if I'm doing it right now,
Jumping.
and if I do it repeatedly,
Jumps.
you are building a word family. Now, try a harder one, swim. If I did it yesterday.
Oh, swimmed.
Oh.
Sam. Okay, I caught myself.
But that moment where you have to think about the rule, that is extension. You are exploring irregular verbs and tenses. You are doing year 1 grammar, but you're doing it orally, maybe while driving to the shops or building with Lego.
So you're teaching them the structure of the language, not just memorizing sight words.
Exactly. And you can do this with comprehension, too. It's called critical literacy. Instead of just reading the story, you interrogate it.
Interrogated. Where was the rabbit on the night of the 14th?
Close. It's more like, why did the author choose to make the wolf the bad guy? Could the wolf be nice?
Well, that's interesting.
Or asking them to predict, stop reading. What do you think happens next? Why do you think that?
You are asking them to visualize and connect the dots. That is a higher order thinking skill than just reading the words on the page.
And again, no flashcards, just questions.
Just questions. Okay, I'm sold on literacy. But math. Math feels rigid.
Yeah.
2 + 2 is 4. How do you extend that without just moving to bigger numbers? Because if my kid counts to 100, my instinct is, okay, let's go to 1,000.
And that is the most common mistake. Counting is just a list. It's memorization. It is not number sense.
Define number sense for us.
It's understanding how numbers relate to each other, how they can be broken apart and put back together. The curriculum calls this partitioning.
So how do we play with that?
Let's take the shop or canteen game. Kids love playing shop.
Classic. I'll buy this plastic corn for $50.
Inflation is tough even in the playroom. So level 1 is just counting. I have 3 apples. That's pre-primary. If you want to extend a capable child to year 1 level, you introduce subitizing.
Subitizing, that's a great word. What is it?
It means looking at a group of objects and knowing how many are there without counting them one by one.
Like on a dice.
Exactly. You see the 5 dots. You know it's 5. You don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the shop, you throw down 4 coins and ask how many. If they just say 4, that's subitizing. It's a sophisticated brain function.
Okay. And if they master that?
Then you move to partitioning and simple operations, but keep it physical. Okay, you have 5 apples. I want to buy 2. How many are left? Or, here's a really good one for extension. We have 7 teddy bears, but only 3 chairs. How many bears have to stand up?
Oh, I like that. It's subtraction, but it's a social problem.
It is, and wait for the struggle. Let them try to fit the bears on the chairs. Let them get it wrong.
See, that's the hard part for parents. We want to jump in and say 7 minus 3 is 4.
Resist the urge. The learning happens when they are moving the bears around, trying to make it work. That is the brain building new neural pathways. You are extending them into problem solving, and you can do this with time, too.
Time is a big one. Learning to read a clock is so tricky.
Forget the clock face for a moment. Focus on duration. This is a key inquiry skill. Have the child draw a timeline of their day.
A pictorial timeline.
Yes. Then ask questions. What takes longer? Brushing your teeth or eating dinner? Does sleeping take longer than watching Bluey?
Nothing takes longer than watching Bluey when you're trying to leave the house.
True. But you're building a sense of time passing. That is deep math concepts, duration, and sequence without needing to drill big hand, little hand.
Okay, so we've got literacy and math, but life isn't usually separated into subjects. And I think the most intimidating part of extension is thinking, I need to plan these separate lessons.
Okay, 9.00 a.m. is math. 9.15 is grammar.
Please don't do that. You will burn out and your child will revolt. The holy grail of extension is the hybrid curriculum, where you combine everything into one project.
One project to rule them all.
There was a fantastic case study in our source notes about building an animal enclosure.
Yes, this was my aha moment. Walk us through this, because it sounds like just playing with blocks, but you're saying it's more. It starts as playing with blocks. You're on the rug. The child says, let's build a zoo.
Okay, I'm there. I have a plastic giraffe in my hand.
A typical parent might just build a wall and say, cool, zoo is done. But the extending parent uses constrained tinkering. You become the consultant. You start with science.
What's the science question?
What does this giraffe need to survive?
Okay. Food, water, shelter.
Right. So where do we put the water? Is the shelter big enough for a giraffe neck? Now you're discussing biological needs and habitats. That's year one science. Then you pivot to math.
How?
We need a fence so the lions don't eat the visitors. How high should it be? You get a ruler, or just use other blocks. The line is 4 blocks high, so the fence needs to be
5 blocks.
Let's measure it. You are comparing heights and measuring with non-standard units. That is year one math.
And literacy.
The visitors don't know this is a lion. We need a sign. Can you make a sign that says danger? Now they are writing for a purpose. They aren't just practicing the letter D on a worksheet. They are warning people about a lion.
The engagement is totally different. And you mentioned humanities, too.
Where does the lion come from? Is it happy in the zoo? How do we look after it? That's empathy, understanding place, and stewardship.
So in 1 hour's playing zoo, you've hit science, math, literacy, and humanities.
And you haven't forced a single thing. The child thinks they are just playing, they maintain agency, they are the boss of the zoo, but you, the adult, have scaffolded the play to hit those year one outcomes.
That sounds amazing, but I have to ask the question that I know a listener is screaming at their device right now. This sounds fun, but is it rigorous?
Rigorous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, surely sitting down and doing the hard work, the worksheet, the rote learning is better for their brain discipline. Isn't playing just soft?
That is a pervasive myth, and the pediatric source hits back at this hard. It comes down to executive function.
That's the brain's air traffic control, right?
Correct. Planning, focusing, remembering instructions, and crucially controlling impulses. The research shows that guided play, like the zoo example, builds these skills better than direct instruction alone.
Better than direct instruction.
Yes, because when a child is engaged in play, their brain releases neurochemicals, dopamine, specifically that aid memory and retention. If a child is bored doing a worksheet, the brain actually checks out. They might memorize the fact for the test tomorrow, but they won't retain it.
Bored children will not learn well. That quote stuck with me.
It's biological, and think about the social-emotional extension. A capable child might be academically ready for year one work, but are they socially ready?
Oh, you mean not melting down when the tower falls over?
Exactly, or negotiating. No, the elephant goes here, I want the blue block. If you skip play to do academics, you might produce a child who can do multiplication at age 5, but falls apart if they break a pencil.
And we've all met that kid, or that adult.
We have. And the year one curriculum places a huge emphasis on negotiating rules and coping with frustration. You cannot learn those skills from a workbook. You can only learn them in the messy, chaotic arena of play.
So really, we aren't just building a calculator here. We're building a person.
That's the so what of this entire deep dive. The sources remind us that in the 21st century, the economy doesn't need people who can just memorize facts. We have computers for that. We need humans who can innovate, apply knowledge, and work with others.
The pro-social brain.
Yes. By extending your child through inquiry and play now, you aren't just prepping them for year one. You are building the cognitive architecture they need for adult success.
That is such a relief to hear, because it takes the pressure off. I don't need to be my child's drill sergeant. I just need to be their co-conspirator.
A co-conspirator in curiosity. Look at what they are doing and just ask, how can I add one more layer to this?
Right.
What happens next? Why did that happen?
Whether it's counting apples in the shop, arguing about verb tenses in the car, or building the world's safest giraffe enclosure.
Extension is about depth, not speed. You are lighting a fire, not filling a bucket.
I love that. So if you're listening, take a breath. Put down the flashcards. Go find some blocks.
And enjoy the play. It goes fast enough as it is.
Thank you so much for breaking this down for us. It's been a real eye-opener.
My pleasure.
And to you, the learner, thanks for trusting us with your time. Good luck with the manageable difficulties. We'll see you in the next deep dive.